Hi, my name is Arlene Marshall Hawkinsmith, and I'm DCNR's Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging. I want to welcome you to DCNR's Mosaic Learning Series. The goal of our Mosaic Learning Series is to provide you with the tools necessary to advance our agency Mosaic efforts in an authentic and meaningful way. The title of this Mosaic Learning session is Welcome to Mosaic. After watching this session, you should be able to define diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, or DEIB for DCNR, understand why DEIB matters to DCNR, describe our agency Mosaic initiative, and also identify ways that you can get involved in our Mosaic agency efforts. Before we begin, I'd like to share a little bit about myself. So I'm a proud Jamaican American, first-generation college and professional degree graduate. I attended Penn State University, my first 2 years at Penn State Mont Alto campus, and then I transferred to University Park, where I completed my education and earned a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and a minor in French. I'm also a licensed attorney. I attended Widener Commonwealth Law School, earned my Juris Doctorate, and I have been licensed for 18 years. My entire career has been dedicated to public service, mainly civil legal aid, and focusing on helping those that are most vulnerable. And I earned my DEI certification from Northwestern Weinberg College of Arts and Sciences. So as we begin to think about what DEIB is, it's important to understand what it is not. It has been highly politicized and often thought about as something being race-based. And that's exactly what it isn't. It's not a black or white thing, but it is an us thing. In practice, the principles of DEIB can actually unify us, connect us, impact us all in a very positive way. So let's define what DEIB is specifically for DCNR. So when we think about diversity, we automatically default to differences, the differences that exist among people. And the focus is representation. Those differences are typically looked at as traditional categories of diversity, like race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, religion, and age, just to name a few. But at DCNR, it's important that we expand the definition of diversity to relate it more to the work that we're doing and the people that we serve. So think about veterans, geography. We're located in different areas, rural, suburban, and urban. Think about the different job titles that we all have, the expertise that we bring, our perspectives, ideas, lived experiences, and even the level of our outdoor experiences. Those differences make us unique. But we can also use those differences to our advantage. Those differences allow us to have different ways of thinking, behaving, and communicating. And all of those differences can lead to new ways of how we do things, how we come up with ideas, how we collaborate. So in the end, these unique differences don't divide us, but they actually unite us and help us to do our work more effectively and efficiently, and in a meaningful way. Equity. Equity is dealing with the fair treatment and access to resources based on an individual's needs or circumstances. Equity is very different from equality, where equality is basically about treating everybody the same regardless of what their needs are. Equity is about taking the time to identify what barriers exist that prevent someone from not being able to access certain things. And taking action to address those barriers so that we can get people to a place of equality. So equity is essentially leveling the playing field. Inclusion. Inclusion is about creating an environment where all people feel respected and valued. And here at DCNR, a way to look at inclusion is that we can look at it both internally for our workplace culture and then also externally for our outdoors, the public lands. So when we look at it internally with our workplace culture, we want to ensure that all of our staff feel that their voices are valued, that they're heard and respected, so that everyone has an opportunity to make meaningful contributions in our workplace. When we think about the outdoors and being more inclusive, we want to ensure that everyone who visits our lands sees themselves in our land and they experience the outdoors in a way that works best for them. So those differences that we talked about with diversity, inclusion makes them more meaningful. And last but not least, belonging. Belonging is the human need to feel accepted and valued, supported, and welcome. So think of it as the emotional state of our DEIB efforts. For someone to feel like they truly belong, they need to feel safe being their authentic selves and not feel like an outsider. And that goes for in-house in our workplace culture, but also for those who visit our public lands. To help reinforce your understanding of DEIB, I'd encourage you to think of it as a metaphor, like a dance. So Verna Myers, a well-respected DEI pioneer, created this dance metaphor to help people visualize the interconnectedness of DEIB. So if you look at this infographic and understanding what equality is, and equating this again to a dance, is that equality means that everyone is receiving an invite to this party. Diversity is that we want to ensure that we're inviting different people, that there's representation, differences of people in the party. Equity is about everyone having the resources to get to the party in a way that works for them and eliminates any barriers to prevent them from getting to that party. Inclusion is about being a part of the planning process for the party, being asked to dance. And then belonging is being at that party, you're hearing the music, you can reveal that you can't dance, and you're still going to be included, that no one will make you feel like an outsider. That, in essence, is DEIB. At DCNR, we asked our staff to create our own dance metaphors for each bureau to help our staff visualize how DEIB and our work connects. And so think of diversity at DCNR as inviting all people to enjoy our state parks and forests. Equity is about addressing the barriers so that all people can fully experience the parks and forests. Inclusion is ensuring that those that come out to our parks and enjoy the parks, everything that we develop from our trails, our outdoor recreation opportunities, programming and educational opportunities, take them into consideration. And belonging is revealing that one can experience the outdoors in a way that makes the best sense for them and they'll still feel welcome. So let's talk about why DEIB matters to DCNR. DCNR values DEIB for lots of different reasons, but the three primary reasons focus on our mission, it's the right thing to do, and it's a strategic priority, one of the three for our agency. So when we think about DEIB, it's important to think about what our mission is. And our agency mission is grounded in Article 1, Section 27 of the Pennsylvania Constitution. And essentially it says that all people have the right to clean air, pure water, and the preservation of the natural and scenic and historic and aesthetic values of the environment. And as trustees of these resources, the Commonwealth shall conserve and maintain these benefits, again, for all people. And our mission says that DCNR, our staff, is going to conserve and sustain these natural resources for the present and future generations' use and enjoyment. Again, for present and future generations, we can infer that that means all people. So when it comes to DEIB and why it's important to DCNR, we recognize that there is underrepresentation. Underrepresentation in our outdoors, our workforce, and history of public lands. And that underrepresentation connects directly to minorities and marginalized populations. In 2020, the National Park Service released their 10-year survey where 419 national parks were surveyed. 23% of those visitors were people of color, 77% were white. Minorities make up 42% of our population here in the United States. With regards to the workforce, 2021 Pew Research Center said that STEM jobs, Black and Hispanic workers, continue to be underrepresented in that workforce. Blacks make up 11% of the workforce overall, but represent only 9% of STEM workers, while Hispanics comprise of 16% of the U.S. workforce, but only 7% are STEM workers. Driving a little bit closer to home, in 2015, the U.S. Forest Service showed that they had some improvement in hiring of racial minorities, specifically for leadership positions. But on a national level, when we think about roles like foresters, only 27% of foresters are women and 11% are minorities. Here in the Commonwealth, with our own data, 2024 foresters, we have 7.9% women and only 2.1% minorities as foresters. In the history of our public lands, in our national parks, they've done a fantastic job of highlighting and supporting the LGBTQ+ community and the connections that they have to the lands and sharing their history. And they use their stories that they develop to talk about the movements in that community and pivotal moments like Vicksburg National Military Park and Stonewall National Monument. But we don't do that here necessarily in the Commonwealth. And so all of this is to show that there's more work that needs to be done in addressing the underrepresentation in our parks and our forest lands and in our workforce. And that is why we have our DEIB mission statement, that we will as an agency take intentional action to ensure that our lands are accessible and welcoming to all people. We want to ensure that our programs are equitable and inclusive, and also our services, and that we want to recruit and retain a diverse workforce, one that's reflective of the Commonwealth's population. Recognizing the need to address the underrepresentation is a priority for DCNR. So much so that we've made it one of our 3 strategic priorities and developed focus areas along with action steps in order to be able to advance our DEIB efforts in a meaningful way. We want to provide learning opportunities for our staff to help them develop the tools that they need, both foundationally and continuous growth, to advance our agency efforts. Our internal and external communications. We want to be able to create and support the development of inclusion-focused communications and messaging to show the public that we care, but also to show our staff that we care as well. Our workforce. We want to be able to provide specific opportunities to retain the great staff that we have now, but we also want to help bring in a workforce that reflects the rich diversity of the Commonwealth's population. Engagement. We want to make sure that we are engaging diverse communities to ensure that they are represented in the work that we do here at DCNR. And that goes from our grant making, our programs, our services, and also our environmental justice efforts, that we want to target those communities and see how we can find ways to address their needs through collaboration, networking, and partnerships. And the outdoors. We want to make sure that we're creating opportunities and spaces and places where people will feel welcome, will feel seen, safe, and respected. So what is Mosaic? Mosaic is DCNR's DEIB initiative. It is designed to be inclusive and people-centric, meaning that it is to be a representation of all staff and staff input. It is authentic and meaningful, meaning that it is designed to advance DEIB principles in a way that works for DCNR. It's intentional, it's thoughtful. It's also designed to be transformative, that we want to see change happen from the action that we're taking. It's also meant to be welcoming, that we want people that are connected to our work or come into our public lands to feel like they're welcome and that they belong. Mosaic is us. If you take a look at that image, it is a representation of every single bureau and staff member at DCNR. The different shapes and sizes and colors that you see represent the diversity that we all bring to the table. If they were separate, it wouldn't make much sense, but together, we bring together and form this beautiful image. The soil that the tree is rooted in is DCNR's mission. The trunk of the tree represents DCNR's DEIB mission. The branches are those focus areas. The fruit on the tree is how we're growing and transforming. The stones in the water represent our Bureau of Geological Survey. The bridge in the back represents our Bureau of Facility Design and Construction. The sun in the sky represents the great work of our Bureau of Recreation and Conservation, shining the light on grant opportunities. The general outdoors represent our Bureau of Forestry and State Parks. Collectively, this image is a representation of us. We are the Mosaic. And this is just an image to show you the vast diversity that we have at DCNR and all the people who are just some parts of the Mosaic, and many of them that you'll meet, and there'll be many more that are not included in these images that represent DCNR's Mosaic. So what does Mosaic in action look like for DCNR? On a department level, we've created a DEIB integration plan that we will use as our roadmap to help us advance the principles of Mosaic or DEIB in a meaningful way. We have a 3-year plan that includes action steps along with goals and metrics that is designed to help us measure our progress over time, hold us accountable, celebrate our successes, and identify areas that we need to improve so that we can make sure that we're doing this work in a meaningful way. We also have created subcommittees and work groups, and I have identified liaisons for each bureau to help advance our Mosaic efforts, and providing our staff with additional tools to support the work, including a DEIB intranet page, a monthly Mosaic Messenger email to provide you with information on cultural awareness and other tools, an inclusive language guide, our definitions and our metaphors, and additional information that can help you to be successful in advancing Mosaic at DCNR. So how can you get involved in Mosaic? Well, first and foremost, be open to change. Change is hard, and we all recognize that. But in order for Mosaic to be successful, it's important to approach this work with an open heart and be willing to listen and learn. You can also get involved with your Bureau Mosaic team. While we're advancing Mosaic on a department level, our bureaus are doing their own work around Mosaic. And so I encourage you to connect with your Mosaic liaison to figure out ways that you can support your bureaus in advancing Mosaic. Share resources and participate in our ongoing learnings. This learning is just one of many that we'll offer as an agency that will allow you to build your skills around Mosaic principles and understanding so that you can help others to understand and also incorporate it into your work. And that ties into incorporating Mosaic principles into your everyday work. We all do a great job around here, but it would be great to enhance the work that we're already doing with Mosaic principles. Be a Mosaic ambassador. You may have someone that works right next to you that doesn't understand this work or recognize the importance of it or the value. And so be a voice and help them to understand why Mosaic is important and help build that bridge. You can also join one of our many department subcommittees. It's a great way to amplify your voice, and it's an opportunity to influence how we advance Mosaic as an agency. And you can always reach out to me. I have an open door, open ears, willing to hear your suggestions and your thoughts on the work to see how we can incorporate it to make sure that our agency efforts are reflective of all of our staff. Here's a list of all the Mosaic liaisons by bureau for the department. And so if you're interested in getting involved in your bureau's Mosaic efforts, please make sure that you connect with one of them. Here is also a full list of the different committees and subcommittees that we have available here at DCNR, and the link below will help you to register, sign up for a committee or subcommittee of your interests, so that way you can participate. Thank you for taking the time to participate in this learning session. I hope that you feel that you know a lot more about why DEIB matters, how it is defined for our agency, and what your role is in the Mosaic. I encourage you to take the 5-minute post-session quiz to gauge your understanding of what you've learned, but you can also use it to provide feedback and also ideas on future learning topics. And I encourage you to encourage your coworkers to watch this session. We will host a live engagement where you'll have an opportunity to share your thoughts and hear those of others. So please make sure to pay attention to your email to learn of when that is scheduled. And thank you again for joining me. And remember that I am, you are, we are Mosaic. Take care.